leather, yellow, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather.
Okay, that's enough. Hi. Hi. We're warming up. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Cup of Joe. Thank you for joining us. Here with my wonderful friend, Andrea Kihlstedt. Get that cup in the camera there. Get your cup in the camera. Awesome. Thank you. I know I say this with every guest. I'm excited to have them here, but I really am. Andrea and I do go back a long way. And you started obviously when you were in grade school, but super, super experienced. I can't think of anybody has so much knowledge and experience in the capital campaign world, all fundraising, has taught all kinds of places and worked with lots of organizations of all shapes and sizes all over the world. Maybe anything overseas or?
I did some stuff in Ireland. We do some work in Australia and Canada. And yeah, so I guess that qualifies as all over the world.
Yeah, that's so cool. And your focus these days has really been capital campaigns, and your business with Amy is Capital Campaign Pro.
That's right.
Eisenstein.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we'll give you a quick plug at the end of this is a two-part series because we have so much to talk about. And capital campaign. So, where does it all start? We see a lot of people that say, we think we want to do a feasibility study. And my first reaction is, well, is there enough there to even consider paying somebody to do that?
Yeah, it's a great question, Joe. And I think people have a lot of misconceptions about how the capital campaign world works. What is a capital campaign, how it functions. So let me see if I can kind of set the stage for this. So a capital campaign is an opportunity to raise a significant amount of money to ramp up the operation and function of your organization, to literally springboard your operation to the next level, to build its capacity by having a relatively short-term infusion of money, of cash, of securities, to make an investment in your organization's operation. Now, that investment is not just money for annual fundraising. It's money that is invested in something that is going to increase your capacity. Often that's a building, but not always. Sometimes it's investing in new programs. Sometimes it's investing in sort of short-term staff investments that eventually are going to be picked up by your annual fundraising. But if you can hire people now to get programs going, you could raise that money through a campaign. Sometimes people use capital campaign kinds of fundraising to build systems, for example, or to train staff, or to do planning. All of these things that actually lay the groundwork for moving the organization to the next level of operation. But it is not money raised for day-to-day operations. Right? This special money raised over and above your annual operating fundraising revenue. Now, what do you need to know if you're ready to hire a consultant to do a campaign? So you need to have a clear understanding and knowledge and agreement within your organization about what it is you want to invest in that's going to take your organization to the next level. You can't just wake up one morning and decide, well, wouldn't it be wonderful if we had another $5 million, right? That's not enough. That doesn't mean you're ready.
That does happen, right?
It does.
Sadly.
People think that, right? You need to have gone through a process with your board, with your staff that says, we want to do A, B, C, and D. And if we do that, if we invest that, if we can do that for our organization, we will be able to serve more people and we will be able to serve them better. Once you are clear about that, then you're ready to move forward to hire a consultant and do a feasibility study and see if you can actually have a capital campaign.
Now, there are a ton of campaign consultants, right? And some charge a ton of money.
Right.
Is it like you get what you pay for kind of thing? Hey, let's spend, if we spend more money with the big firms, and not to disparage big firms by any means. I'm not trying to disparage anybody in our business, but is an overused phrase. Does size matter?
Does size matter? Right. I'm not sure size matters, but let's talk for a minute about the kinds of different consultants there are. That matters, the kinds of consultants. On one end, the top end, perhaps, you have a consulting firm that actually places someone in your development shop to do the campaign, to actually manage the campaign. They become like staff, though they're not staff. They're actually working for the campaign, for the consulting organization, but they have an office. They are actually driving the campaign from within your institution. And then when the campaign's over, they leave. Now, for some organizations, that works really well. It's a very expensive way to go. It's never my favorite way because I think there is so much to be learned from capital campaign fundraising. And if you offload it to someone who is just going to pick up and leave afterwards, I think you're missing an opportunity to strengthen your organization from the inside for the future.
How do you mean? How do you mean?
Well,
all
right. I mean, if I were to say to you, Joe, all right, you are the person who's coming into our organization and you're going to spend the next 8 weeks or 3 months or 6 months running our capital campaign. And then you do all of the things that are necessary to make the campaign function. But when the campaign is over, you pack up your little bag and say bye-bye and you're off to your next campaign, right? You know a ton about campaigns. You know how to do it. You organize and structure people inside our organization for a while, but we never get good at doing that. We inside the organization never get good at doing that. So I think organizations are better served, for the most part, by hiring a consulting firm that will be by your side so that you, the person in the organization, learns how to do this remarkable kind of fundraising. And you're not doing it on your own. You have someone who is advising you, you have materials, you have support, but you're learning along the way. So when the campaign is over, those skills and those relationships stay with you. And I think that's so important for, organizations. Development shops are strengthened by successful campaigns. People never go back to the kind of fundraising they did before. I mean, entirely. Once they finish campaigns, they get used to this major gifts fundraising. They start out really scared. How can we ask someone for $1 million? And they end up feeling spoiled by it. Then when they have to go back and ask someone for $5,000, it feels like, oh, that's a lot of work for $5,000. I was just asking people for $1 million or $500,000. That was a whole lot more fun, right? So the campaign process is a powerful and important learning process for a development shop.
So it's not just like a one-time event. I'm thinking we had our master bathroom redone, and that was like, I don't have the skill sets to do that, and I can't even imagine trying to do that. So you hire somebody, come in and do it. It's a one-time event. We're in our 60s. The likelihood of us ever doing that again is zero. Maybe sometimes people think of a campaign that like, let somebody else do it, right? But it's not a one-time event. To your point, it's just developing your skill sets, thinking bigger, right? That's what we, as consultants, are so often drilling into our clients: is think bigger. You're thinking too small.
That's right.
And
you have an opportunity to really build those relationships. So you build your own confidence. You build the relationships with your largest donors. And then after the campaign, those relationships persist. You can keep going back to them. You can keep talking to them. You can bring them in. Maybe some of those people will become board members. Maybe they'll become advisors to you, informal advisors. The better you do building those relationships, the better all of your fundraising is going to be. So capital campaigns are incredibly powerful, not just because they raise a ton of money, but because they free you up to imagine much bigger possibilities going forward.
And stressful?
Yes.
You've seen any recommendations on how to deal with the stress of that?
That's interesting question. There are different kinds of stress. What I've always loved about capital campaigns is that you raise a ton of money from a relatively few donors, right? Every campaign is made or broken in 20 gifts, right? This is not broad-based fundraising. This is top level, narrow, fundraising. So you're after building relationships with a relatively few people. Now, those relationships, because the stakes are so high, because the numbers are so high, those relationships can be stressful. But to my mind, it's much more stressful to say, all right, how do I get 1,000 people to give? That's a much more stressful process, if you ask me, right? I can think, how do I build a relationship with 10 people? I can wrap my arms around that. I know what that feels like to build a relationship. I know how to think about what the next step is. How do I identify this person? How do I bring them in? How do I get to know them? How do I learn about them? I can manage that. Someone says to me, raise $500,000 in broad, in gifts of $100 or $200 or $300. That to me is like, that's major stress.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of which stress you choose, right? There's all stressful.
Great answer. Awesome. Well, this is part one, everybody, of a two-part conversation. So this sounds like a good place to take a break. This is the opportunity to promote the amazing things you and Amy are doing and how people can get in touch with you.
Yes, thank you. So Amy Eisenstein and I have developed this amazing business called Capital Campaign Pro. We encourage you to go to that website, capitalcampaignpro.com. Take a look around, sign up for a strategy session if you're thinking about a capital campaign. We will be delighted to talk to you. Our system of working with people on capital campaigns is quite different from the traditional consulting model. It literally is a support system. And we have an online toolkit. We have truly expert advisors working with clients, and we have peer learning groups. And together, those three things are just help you learn about campaigns, help you be successful in your campaign. You will never again raise money in the way you've raised it before if you join us in learning about capital campaigns. We'd love to hear from you.
Love your confidence. Andrea, until next time, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Joe.
My pleasure.